Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Yesterday we started talking about the heart and the different parts of the heart. Today we're going to talk about the brain and the different parts of the brain. And the brain is the most important part of our body. Without our brain, our bodies wouldn't be able to do anything. All right, so here are our 3-part cards, 3 or 4-part cards that will be available to you to do after the lesson if you would like. So our first one says the brain, and this whole thing is our brain. It says the brain is one of our 5 vital organs. It controls our body. So it is that command center that controls everything our bodies do. The first part of the brain is the cerebrum. The cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. It controls our thinking and our actions. And the cerebrum is actually broken up into 4 different lobes, and each lobe has a different job. So we're going to talk about those 4 lobes. The first lobe is this frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the largest part of the brain. It is located in the front of the head and is involved in personality characteristics and movement. And the frontal lobe is the lobe that helps us take action, so doing things. The next part of the brain is the temporal lobes, and the temporal lobes are on the sides of the brain. They're involved in memory, speech, and our sense of hearing and smell. Some of you also might remember learning about the amygdala. The amygdala is another part of our brain, and that's located in the temporal lobe of our brain. Next is the parietal lobe. The parietal lobe helps a person identify objects. It is also involved in interpreting touch, smell, and temperature. And because of this, that it helps us interpret touch and temperature, it also helps us recognize pain in our bodies. So if something is too hot or if there's a touch that is harmful. So those are the 4 lobes. Nope, occipital. The occipital lobe is the back part of the brain that's responsible for vision. So that occipital lobe is what helps us see. Okay, those are the 4 lobes. Now we're going to move on to the cerebellum. And the cerebellum is much smaller than the cerebrum, and it means little brain. So the cerebellum, or little brain, controls our balance, our movement, and our coordination. And coordination is how your muscles work together. This part of the brain is called the brainstem. The brainstem has 2 parts, and they're called the pons and the medulla. We're going to learn a little bit more about those in a minute. But this brainstem is in charge of all the things your body needs to stay alive. So the brainstem is in charge of breathing air and digesting food and circulating our blood throughout our body. And the brainstem connects to our spinal cord. And we know that our spinal cord is our backbone, and that's one of the things that makes us a vertebrate. So this little part up here, this is called the pons, and it's a part of the brainstem. And the pons controls our face and eye movements as well as our consciousness. And consciousness means that it controls if you are asleep or if you are awake. The last part of the brain we're going to talk about is this medulla. And the medulla is the most important part of the brain. It controls the heart and the lungs, and it controls our involuntary body functions. So an involuntary movement or function is something our body just does. We don't even have to think about it. So the medulla controls all of those important things. So those are the different parts of the brain that we are going to talk about today. I encourage you to do these cards, and then what if you could even make a list of all of the important things that our body and our brain helps us remember to do. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.